Yamaha always seems to have a lot going on in their booth every year. They always have at least a couple of champions there as well. This year they had AMA Superbike champ Josh Herrin and AMA Sportbike champ Cameron Beaubier in attendance. Oh yeah, they introduced a couple of bikes as well, so check it out.
I'd like to welcome you all to the Progressive International Motorcycle Show here at Long Beach. Really the kickoff for us here. My name is Bob Starr, for those that don't know me. And we're here to talk about some very, very exciting times for Yamaha and Star motorcycles. The all-new Star Bolt, which we really say less is more. It's a very, very good basic entry-level cruiser. It's been selling extremely well. And then most recently, the FZ09, the cross-plane crankshaft-equipped three-cylinder bike, which is over here. All of those new products from Yamaha are doing very well, signaling a very good sort of renewed interest in the industry, and we're very excited. And I can tell you all, that's just the tip of the iceberg for Yamaha. I can't tell you any more than that, but we are going to have a very exciting year ahead of us.
But basically what our plan was, we started a new amateur motocross, supercross, off-road program called Blue Crew. And it's very important because at Yamaha we truly believe in family. So anybody who rides or buys one of our bikes, they're basically part of our family. So this program, basically all you have to own is a 2012, 13, or 14 Yamaha YZ or WR model and sign up online. And when you sign up, you'll receive basically a gift bag, which we have them here, with a shirt, a hat, a sticker, and it kind of lets you tell the world that you're part of the Yamaha Blue Crew. And when we announced that, we also announced there is $3.76 million that is up for grabs for amateur athletes and professional athletes to get throughout the racing series. So we have a ton of races. Everything is up on the website, which is YamahaBlueCrew.com. But basically, we understand if you don't capture the youth, you're not going to get them throughout their life cycle. So we've launched this program. It's very cool. It's very youth-oriented with a lot of social media, a lot of videos, a lot of stuff that helps you become a better rider, both on the bike and in the garage, because you got to keep going week in and week out.
And racing is really at the heart of the Yamaha brand. Yamaha has been racing really since the start. The company was formed in 1955, and shortly thereafter we started racing, or we began racing. So there's a bike over here to my right, which is a 1978 TZ750E model. It's owned by Jeff Pology, who's a designer and fabricator for us, and I'm going to bring him up here in a minute. I'm going to try to remove these stanchions as long as you don't sit on it or whatever, but the TZ750 is very, for those that don't know, it's really an iconic bike for Yamaha. It was designed and engineered in the early 70s, basically by sticking two TZ350 engines together. So the original one was a 700, and then it became a 750. This one, as I said, is a 1978. It was designed really to succeed a lot on Daytona, which it won Daytona many times. And from the TZ750 really came a lot of our racing success throughout the years, moving on to the M1, which we have over here, Jorge Lorenzo's M1, which unfortunately we didn't win the championship just barely this year, but many MotoGP championships, both with Valentino Rossi and Jorge Lorenzo, has won too. So with the TZ750, probably one of the most iconic versions of that was actually in 1975. Kenny Roberts took a version of that to win the Indy Mile, just barely. We have a video that we did a few years ago because Kenny returned to that. I'm going to bring Jeff Pology up now. We're going to pull the cover off this bike. So I've got to be careful. So this bike here, Jeff Pology built this. This is fashioned after the bike that Kenny Roberts took to the Indy Mile victory in 1975. Again, it features that TZ750 inline 4 two-stroke engine that Kenny got off the bike, and for those that don't know, his first words were, "They don't pay me enough to ride that thing," because it was absolutely scary for him to ride, but he did manage to win. He never rode it again until a few years ago. Again, as I said, we did a YouTube video. Kenny came out in 2009 to ride the Indy Mile. He did a few laps on it. At almost age 60, he held the throttle wide open. So if you haven't seen that video, it's on YouTube. So there's two bikes here. Steve Baker, who was also Formula One champion a long time ago. That's Steve Baker's, or a replica of Steve Baker's bike, number 32, and this is a replica of Kenny Roberts' bike. So I said replica. This is not the actual bike. So Jeff Pology over here built the bike, and so it's a TD 750 engine. So why don't you tell us where you started? You bought the engine, and from there on, what happened?
Yeah, I actually had a very good customer of mine come to me about 2 years ago and wanted one of these bikes really bad. And we started the quest to build 2 of them. And it was a year's worth of scouring for parts all over the country. We found the motors back east and were able to put them together. And it's just part of my passion is building custom bikes, and just you can't own an original one of these bikes because they just don't exist anywhere. I've never seen one for sale, so the only option was to build one.
So I think there was maybe 6 to maybe 10 frames that were built at the time that Kenny and Steve Baker rode. So that's it. So as Jeff said, you can't find them anywhere. There's very, very few that were ever made. So he basically fabricated this completely by himself. He bought the engine and then built the frame and everything else. You told me a story before that the pipes were a challenge. So the pipes are all handmade. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, there's probably, between the 2 bikes, I would estimate 100, maybe 120 hours in just fabrication time to build the dies and to actually build the flat pipes. They were patterned off a set that I borrowed off an original Twin Shot 700. And we just went to work copying them, and a lot of work.
This year for Yamaha in AMA road racing, Yamaha had their best year ever, winning Super Sport, Daytona Sportsbike class, and Superbike championship. Superbike championship for the 4th year in a row. 3 years by Josh Hayes, this year by Josh Herrin. Talk about this year. You were very, very consistent. You won some races, and then in the end, you won the championship. Talk to us a little bit about this year. What it was like for you?
You know, I thought it was a really good year. We last year was the first year in Superbike for us. We were on the 600 for six years, and so it was a big stepping stone going from a 600 to a 1000. And I think we made a good year out of it. We learned a lot and got on the podium, I think 8 times, so it was good. And then this year was a little bit more weight on our shoulders. We were expected to do a lot better, and like Bob said, we were really consistent. I got 4 wins this year, and we were able to walk away with a championship, and it was my first one, and no better one to do it with than the Superbike championship, I think. And yeah, it's been a great time with Yamaha, and I'm happy that we get to continue a relationship with them, and hopefully do bigger and better things.
So I think looking back at this year, for those that followed it closely, the Miller race was kind of I don't want to say nail in the coffin, but for lack of a better term, I'm going to say nail in the coffin. You seemed to really come into your own at that race, and you won that leg and just kind of put it down. Can you look back to that Miller race, and is that similar to you? Did you feel like you got this extra confidence and it just helped you win that race?
Yeah, in a way. I mean, it definitely boosted my confidence for the rest of the year. The biggest thing was my training program for the year. It stepped up a lot compared to what it was before, and I think just going into the second half of the year, my confidence was up just because of that. I wasn't going to the line anymore worried about finishing the races strong. I was thinking about actually winning them because I knew in my mind that I could, and I wasn't going to struggle at the end. So that was, I think, the biggest thing. But getting the win at Miller was my first, what I would call an earned win. It wasn't due to a mechanical or anything, and that was, like you said, something that kind of started the snowball and just built from there, and we were able to get 2 or 3 more after that. I think 2 more wins after that. So it was, yeah, like you said, it definitely helped.
Well, again, also, from all of us at Yamaha, as you know, Josh is going on to race Moto2, the Caterham team, next year. So it's really kind of every rider's dream to do well and win a championship here in the United States, and then go on and show the world what you can do in the world arena for road racing. So, I know I speak for all of us at Yamaha, and I'm sure all the people here and all the fans, all the U.S. fans, that we're really proud that you have now taken your expertise, taken your championship, and you're going to Europe, and you're going to do us all in America proud. So I don't know if you want to make a comment on that, but we're all really happy for you.
Yeah, for me, it's been a dream since I first found out about MotoGP. The first time I found out about it, I was 10 years old. Somebody was talking about a guy named Valentino Rossi, and I didn't know who he was, but they said he was this kid that was, going to be the best that there ever was. And I started watching it from there on with my dad and watching all these old VHS tapes and got hooked on it, and that's when I decided I wanted to do this for a living. And ever since I turned pro when I was 16, you know, my goal with Yamaha was to go race in Europe, and I think the later that the longer that it went on, it was seeming that it was going to get a little bit harder to get there. And then with the way that the economy hit the road racing, you know, just everybody in road racing, it seemed like it got pretty difficult to get there, and it seemed like the best route to go was Moto2. And for us, not being able to say that it's a Yamaha bike is, you know, it hurts me because I've always been with Yamaha and my dad always rode Yamahas. But one of the good things is that we're going to continue a relationship with them, and I'll be doing all sorts of events with them next year, and you know, represent the #1 plate all in the U.S. at the GP rounds that we go to, and I'll still be riding my Yamahas at home, and I wouldn't ride anything else. So I'm excited to go race over there, and I think that there's a lot of weight on my shoulders to do good in the series, because we'll be the first American to ever race full season in Moto2, and I think AMA is the series is kind of relying on me to get good results to try and get more Americans over there, and I'm ready for the challenge, and hopefully we do good.
Very good. You're going to be an inspiration to a lot of young riders in the U.S. If you didn't hear the question Dave asked, I know you're dragging your elbow now. Is that a psych out on the other riders, or is that a new style?
The first time I drug my elbow, I was like 17 at Barber. I remember I was freaking out about it, but you know, for some reason the lean angle on the Moto2 bikes is way more. Before I would, you know, maybe nick my elbow here and there on a curbing somewhere and get excited about it. But when I did the 4 days of testing there, in one suit I wore through the titanium slider, the plastic underneath it, and the leather all in 4 days. Yeah, on my elbow. So it was crazy. You know, you see like for any of you that watch MotoGP, you see guys like Marc Marquez or Redding who are dragging their elbows. And the crazy thing is that the more you lean off the bike towards the inside of the corner, the more it wants to hook, you know, to the inside so you can get on the gas sooner. And it was really weird because I was dragging my elbow, but I couldn't get off the bike more. So then I started remembering what Marquez, when I watch him, you know, he lifts his elbow up even more, and that's what you have to do. It's crazy, is you lean so far on those bikes that you then have to, your elbow gets in the way almost. You have to try and lift your elbow up, and it's not, I don't think it's anything, you know, a lot of guys you see them and it looks like they're trying to do it, but really it's just, you have to get off the bike really far in order to go faster. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's cool coming in, seeing it, and with the, you know, Dainese leathers, there's some titanium sliders on your elbows, so you get to hear it sparking and stuff. It's pretty neat.
Why has elbow dragging become a thing?
What's different about the bike?
I'm not really sure. I just do it to look cool. I see all my heroes doing it, so I do it too. You know, it's like taking your foot off on the bike. You know, I just do it because it looks cool.
Yeah.
But no, I really don't know. It's just, you know, I guess you have to. I don't know for sure who it was, but who was the first person to put a knee puck on their leathers? There you go, Kenny Roberts. So I guess it's maybe just a new thing. You know, you can only go so far in a sport, and then you just got to try new things, and maybe just leaning off as far as you can now is a new thing. Maybe the next thing's dragging your head on the ground. I don't know. It's something, but you always have to find ways to get better, and you know, you see now Marquez doing it, and I see Rossi's body position completely changing from what it used to be. So it's, you know, it obviously works, and it's just, you know, newer and better things you got to try.
So how do you think riding 600 and thousands are going to help you against guys that have been riding 250s a few years ago, or 254 strokes in Moto3 and now 600s in Moto2? So how's that going to prepare you?
I think, you know, because I was on a 600 when I was 14 and I rode one until I was 21, and then now riding it again, I have way more experience on a 4-stroke and then also a 600 than a lot of the guys in Moto2 have. I think that it's going to help me in the long run compared to them, just because I know more what the bike's going to do than they do. At least that's my mindset going into it right now. We'll see how it is later on, but it seems like also I have I know what the bike's going to do more. It seems like a lot of those guys, you know, high side a lot, and I kind of know how to use the power and stuff, and especially coming off the 1000 now, the 600 seems a lot easier to ride. You know, the 1000 when I first got on it, I could only do 5 laps before I felt like I had just ran 100 miles or something. So riding the 600 is a lot easier for me, and for them, they're coming from a bike that's half the weight, and they're going to have to go through what I did going from the 600 to the 1000. So I feel like that's an advantage that I have as well.
America's future here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Josh. So as one rider departs for Europe, another one moves up. So I'd like to introduce to you the Daytona Sportsbike champion for this year, Mr. Cameron Beaubier. Please give him a big round of applause. So Cameron's been with us 2 years. Second year he won the Daytona Sportsbike Championship. So for those that don't know, Cameron had one bad race where he finished second. Every other race this year he finished number 1 on the podium. So not a bad year. Congratulations, Cameron, once again. So why don't you talk a little bit about this past year? As I said, you had one race where you finished second. Every other race you won. Cameron's bike over here, the YZF-R6, obviously has been an incredible bike for him. Talk about this year.
Yeah, you know, going into this year, I mean, I obviously had my eyes focused on the championship, but I mean, I didn't think it was going to turn out, or the season was going to turn out as good as it did. You know, it was definitely one of the most fun races or most fun seasons I've ever had on a motorcycle, and you know, it's a blessing being part of the Yamaha family and coming in and high-fiving your crew chief and your mechanic, and it was an amazing year, and yeah, it was great.
So now you've won the championship. You immediately are going to go to riding the YZF-R1 in Superbike class. So you've ridden a little bit. Can you compare the two bikes, the R6 and the R1?
Yeah, I got the opportunity to test the R1 last month. Once at Buttonwell, once at Chuckwalla, and it was a handful just trying to hang on to that thing. It's so fast, and I mean, it just does. I feel like it does everything a little bit better than the R6. And not to say the R6 isn't an amazing bike, because it is, but it's gonna be an amazing year, and I have a lot to learn, but it's a really good opportunity for me to be alongside Josh Hayes, and yeah, I mean, it'll be fun.
So again, you just said Josh Hayes. So 3-time AMA Superbike champion Josh Hayes is Cameron's teammate for next year. So what do you expect, if you can look at a crystal ball, what do you expect for next year riding alongside Josh Hayes, trying to beat him and so on?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, I mean, that guy is insanely talented. I got a lot to learn. I mean, I hope I start off the season fast, and it'll be good, you know. I mean, coming into the season, I obviously have some big shoes to fill with Herrin winning the championship on the same bike, but I'm ready for it. It'll be fun.
So we talked about Josh Herrin being starting with us at age 14. Cameron is a little bit older, but still very young. In fact, today he happens to be 21, this very day. So happy birthday, and there's a little celebration, so nobody go away. We have a little cake for you, Cameron, over here. Mike Garrett's going to bring it up. So let's try a little bit. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cameron. Happy birthday to you. So we have 21 candles plus a number 1, so 21 plus the number 1 that he won this year for the championship. You should all take a look.
Congrats to Josh, Cameron, and Yamaha on their championships. We did manage to get a one-on-one interview with Josh Herrin the following day, so make sure to check out the rest of our coverage of the Progressive International Motorcycle Show on our YouTube channel. Lots of videos for you to check out, so make sure to subscribe, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram, all at Cycle Sports TV. And for Cycle Sports TV, I'm Patrick Harris.